Hello and welcome to another episode of Inter Club India podcast where we talk everything Inter, the previews, reviews, transfer market and everything in between. What a relaxing weekend, what a happy weekend and what an amazing result. 3-0 against Sassuolo, that took away our bogey team. And I predicted before the match in a previous podcast that we are going to win 3-1. Somehow it gave me the confidence that our team is going to play for 90 minutes, not our usual 45 minutes of sleep and 45 minutes recovery. I thought they were going to play and they did one better. They kept a clean sheet, something that was very important for us. And joining me as usual is Manish and Parmeshwar. Parmeshwar, what are your views? How was your weekend? You must have enjoyed watching the match.
Yeah, indeed, man. As you referred to the predictions from the last podcast, I wasn't very optimistic at all. I had either predicted a 2-2 draw or a 2-1 loss. Based on our horrible form, and then to go out and perform like that. The team played really well. First of all, to begin with, diving into the match, kudos to Antonio Conte to just going back to the 3-5-2 in the first place. You know, he realized that he had to get a win at this point. So of course we saw the 3-5-2, and yeah, there was one minor tweak in the lineup where he played Barella in the middle rather than either on the left or the right. So yes, Barella didn't have the most spectacular of the most spectacular first half, but you could see him covering all the spaces. I was just checking the stats for the match. We had like overall 35% possession, and we still ended up winning 3-0. But at the end, what matters is that we've got the win, right? Like, even though we were too defensive, that's our strength. Conte usually, as Rahul has had mentioned in the previous podcast, he is a defensive coach, right? And he made certain tweaks that helped us against a very good counter-attacking team, or let's say possession-based team as well in Sassuolo. Damian was fantastic. I have to give credit to that guy. Before he signed for us, when he was linked, everyone is like, "Meh, this guy is not gonna cut it. He's not gonna last." But every time he stepped onto the pitch, he's been fantastic. Like, he's been decent to good. He's never put a foot wrong. So kudos to him. Yeah, Hakimi, probably needed to be benched. He's going through a mini rough patch of sorts. But yeah, kudos to Damian, and I guess everyone's favorite Gagliardini with one of the best goals of the game. I guess, yeah, I mean, I personally wanted Eriksen to score such a goal, but you can't have your way all the time. So it was Gagliardini. But yeah, I mean, as you said, Gotham, at the end of the day, is what matters is the win, right? Like, we needed that. We needed to beat a team like Sassuolo, who was second in the league, unbeaten like AC Milan. And yeah, I mean, it was a really good display. And it was about doing the basics right, and going back to the philosophy from the first season that got us into that elevated level in the first place. So yeah, all in all, I'm very happy, and hoping that we can pull out something similar against Monchengladbach.
Yeah, Manish, coming to you, I mean, what do you think changed? Like, how did the mentality change all of a sudden? That too against Sassuolo, our bogey team, and they were unbeaten. And we played the entire 90 minutes. Like, the players ran. Like, how did this happen all of a sudden?
First of all, hi, all Inter fans in India and around the world. Yes, Gautam, so regarding your question, what changed? Pretty much like Parmeshwar pointed out, just the formation. Yeah. So all this while, what happens is Inter's the team attacking. Inter was the team taking initiative with the 3-4-1-2 formation. And we're playing against smaller oppositions who like to sit back and defend with 10 men behind the ball. This time it was slightly different. Sassuolo, they took the initiative, they wanted to attack, and Conte took that to his advantage. So playing a defensive 3-5-2 system allowed Inter to settle down, cover the spaces, and give the initiative to Sassuolo. So all of a sudden, when Sassuolo got the initiative, they left a lot of spaces. You could see that when Sanchez and Lautaro, they're combining with the 1-2 passes and stuff. So the 3-5-2 formation, it's again a quite defensive formation like we saw last season. I think last season against the last game of season when we played Inter was Atlanta at Atlanta's home, he reverted back to 3-5-2. So pretty much the same strategy against attacking teams like Atlanta and Sassuolo. We sit back and let they take the initiative. So like Parmeshwar pointed out, we were just 34% of the possession. That is like insanely low, but saying that we scored when it mattered. That's no point having a lot of possession and playing this champagne football. At the end of the day, we lose. So I'm glad Conte realized that, because I was worried about the new Conte. Yeah, like even last week, Uncle Sharma pointed out, the new Conte is more attacking and more crazy approach, like Marcelo Bielsa type formation where he goes all out attack. This type Conte, we pretty much know this is his strength. So if Inter plays to our strength, sit back, absorb the pressure, and then slowly hit on the brakes, I think we can do wonders. This time it worked. Why? Because it was against a very attacking opposition like Sassuolo. But not necessarily when we play against a defensive team, this might work. So that is where when we have to take the initiative. But for this, the tactics were spot on. I would give a very good rating to Conte for this, reading the match well. And yeah, brilliant. He put Barella pretty much just ahead of the defense, more like a register type player, a box-to-box player, like you call it. And yes, the distribution as well. I love the link up between Lautaro and Sanchez. It's first time we've seen that. Brilliant match. More to say, I think the man of the match pretty much goes to Darmian. Everyone pointed out, Darmian was really good. He covered the right flank really well defensively, won pretty much all the duels, one-on-one duels, he won it. And the passing, oh my God, brilliant passing. The one he passed to Gagliardini, and before that also he passed a couple of them. I was so impressed with Darmian. So pretty much these type players where they come up with no expectations, they perform. Hakimi, when he came in, before he even stepped onto the pitch, he came in with loads of baggage, like he had to perform, he had to be the savior for Inter. So that's putting a toll on him. Hakimi is still very young. Let's make no mistake about it. Let's not rush him. He's still our future. But like this type days where he needs a bit rest, I would happily give a chance to Darmian. And brilliant performance, Gotham. And the results, we took our chances well. I'm happy. Sanchez, Lautaro combined well. We had both of them on the score sheet. We had Gagliardini also on the score sheet. So overall, a very good result and three smiley faces for all of us.
Yeah, so Parmeshwar, coming back to you, like Manish just said, and your news said that Darmian put in an amazing shift. And yes, even to me, he was the man of the match. Like he was all over the pitch and he knew what he was doing. But if you see today's Conte's press conference as well, he said that Hakimi needs to understand the defensive side of things. So does that mean now after Darmian's performance, Darmian is a sure shot starter from now on, at least for a month or 2 months, and Hakimi will be on the sidelines because Conte does that, you know that. Now the problem shouldn't be like Hakimi gets frustrated sitting on the sidelines. How would you motivate Hakimi that you have to improve defensive side of things, but you're still an important part, you're the player of the project. We won't sideline you because he is obviously watching what's happening to Eriksen. Do you think that it would affect him, like if Darmian starts and he has just been brought in and Conte is already saying he doesn't do defensive side of things well? Do you think that's going to affect him, or do you think it's a one-off and Hakimi will start the next game?
Yeah, so first of all, that's a very interesting question because recently, if you follow Conte's press conferences and everything, it's all relatable. So first of all, to answer this, I'd like to start off with the point as to how he addressed this question in the press conference today. So basically, a journalist asked him whether, he asked him why Hakimi didn't start against Sassuolo and all. And, why he's been a bit off recently. So what he said is like, I don't speak about individuals. That's what he always says initially. But he's like, since it's your job as journalist, I'll give you an answer. He's like, we'll go back to one of my first press conferences before the season began. And what he said was at that point that he said Hakimi is a fantastic player. He has great potential. He has a lot of talent, but he does need to work a lot. He does need to improve his defensive side of the game. And this thing was known universally. Hakimi is great going forward. Those runs, those fast runs, especially on the counter, he's amazing. And with his vision and his crossing and decision making. But as you can see, he does need to work on his defensive side of the game. It's pretty evident. He can be beaten duels. I remember against Real Madrid, Martin Odegaard dispossessed him very easily. And Odegaard is not a type of player who's known to win ball backs. He's, more of a deep line passer. So if Hakimi is losing such kind of duels, it clearly shows that he needs to work upon it. And, there's nothing wrong with it. He's at the end of the day, he's 20, man. He's a kid, as Manish pointed out. He's our future, he's here to stay for quite some time at least, and he'll grow. With that being said, I'm not really worried about him being benched because see, uh, when you're a young player, this is all part. It's a part of the process. Like if you play him all the time, he maybe doesn't understand what's expected of him. At times what happens is players learn while playing through their rough patch, and at times they don't. Now, but if let's say Hakimi was on the bench against Sassuolo as he was, he maybe saw how Darmian played. Because Darmian covered spaces really well at the back. He completely neutralized fantastic attacking player like Jeremy Boga. So, Hakimi watching that, he has something to learn from it. He knows when to tackle, he knows which zones to move into. He knows whom to partner with in order to close down spaces. So, this is a part of a long process. We can't put pressure on him. He's new, man. I know the thing is, the pressure is all because he's established himself at such a young age, So the pressure is going to be there. But he's so young at the end of the day. Like he will learn, and he's coming off a different league, as Conte said. In Bundesliga, a lot of defenses, play a high line. Sorry, a lot of teams play a high line in general. They prefer pushing their fullbacks up. So Hakimi on the counter has space to run into, and he has that space. So here in Serie A, it's completely different. Teams prefer sitting back and they don't allow you space. So it's all new to him. I don't, personally, asking me, I'm not worried about it. Tomorrow I was reading something by Sky Italia just before the podcast. Maybe there's a possibility Darmian starts tomorrow. But then again, there's nothing wrong with it. At the end of the day, it's a must-win match for us. That's one. Second of all, again, it's a part of the process. So Hakimi will learn eventually. I don't think there's anything to be worried about. And one more thing I'd like to point out is that, Conte has said it before. Those who show me why that they deserve to start will start basically at the end of the day. He has said it he said it like 3-4 times. So as of now, of course, nothing against Hakimi. I love the guy, but Damian has clearly shown why he should start. And if you ask me why not bench Perisic and put Damian on the left, and Hakimi on the right, but honestly, Perisic also put in a pretty decent performance against Sassuolo. To neutralize Berardi on that right side is not easy either. Perisic actually did a very good job sitting deep. So, both of them have given a good case to start the match against Monchengladbach. So why not, because at the end of the day, the goal is now to progress. We have a chance to still, reach the round of 16. So why not make the most of it? Yes, at the end of the day, it depends on if Real Madrid beat Monchengladbach, but we need to do our part, right? So nothing against Hakimi, I'm pretty sure he's going to be back in the 11. It's not a big deal. I think it's something we should not pay too much heed at because, at the end of the day, as I said, he's young and he'll learn from this. Yeah.
All right. So, Parmesh, good point there. I just want to ask a question, bringing this question to both of you. I asked this, I think, last week to Uncle Sharma. Now I'm asking you both. Do you think, first starting with Gautam, do you think Inter would be in a better position if we still had Candreva on the right wing and Biraghi in the left wing? I know they're not world-class players, but they were very suited to Conte's formation of defensive as well as attacking phases. So just a question to both of you, a quick question with a yes or no. Gautam, starting with you. Do you think, like I said, will Candreva and Biraghi be part of this new Inter in the new season?
Well, Candreva, I'm not so sure because the main problem with Candreva wasn't quality, it was consistency. Like he wasn't world class, but he was getting the job done. The thing was consistency. He would dribble past and then the crosses would land, I don't know, somewhere outside in the parking lot. Like you need players who, when you have someone like Lukaku in center, you need people to cross to him properly. Like 99% of the time, the crosses should reach. It's no use like you beat defenders, you get into the space, and then your cross is wasted. So the entire move is wasted because you couldn't cross properly. So Candreva, I think Candreva should have been gone. He shouldn't. Maybe he could have been there in the bench, but now that Darman has come in and he's doing the job, Candreva won't be missed. But Biraghi, I think he could have had one more season with us. If instead of Ashley Young, I think we could have had Biraghi. Second season, he would have been much more comfortable with us. And he's an Inter fan. So he would have given his all. So I think, yeah, Biraghi could have had one more season, but Candreva, no, I think it was time to let him go.
What about you, Parmeshwar? The same thing?
Yeah. So I agree to an extent with Gautam. So I have a different take on it. So the thing with Kandreva is I completely agree. The thing is, yes, he had a much improved season. But last season there were these flashes of, as Gautam said, inconsistencies and also brain fade moments during matches. His decision making was way below par. Like, at times I remember that Coppa Italia match against Napoli, the second leg, where we were 1-0 down, and Candreva, had cut into the box, and that guy just had to pass it to an open Ericsson. This guy just shoots it over. I don't know what he was thinking. And these chances, we have always said this, we create a lot, but we miss them. So this is a part of it. Candreva improved under Conte, maybe not defensively that much, but yes, his confidence in general going forward, but his decision making was not quite convincing. So I was fine with, Candreva leaving Inter, and I think it was the right time to let him go. And, of course, Darmian is younger and, he's showing signs of being better. Coming to Cristiano Biraghi, I agree with Gautam actually. I think he should have been kept because, there was this, the fan base with Biraghi, they were always split. Either you let him go or you keep him. But the thing is, his crossing ability was really good. He was also a set piece taker, so we would have had an additional set piece taker. Free kicks, corners, indirect free kicks, and his passing in general was pretty good. Yes, the only issue with Biraki I personally felt was that he was too safe a player. Like, I remember at times where we had to go for the win in the end, he would pass it back. He was too nervous to cross. But his ability is very good. I did want him to stay. Like, I really wanted him for another year at least. But of course, the terms were that, we had to have Dalbert go the other way at the same time, and Fiorentina didn't want him. With that being said, if you compare him to Ashley Young, I don't think Young is bad per se. He's really good. He comes in handy as well. I would have actually kept Biragi, Young, and maybe even Perisic, because I know that would have led to squad, quantity issues. But instead of playing D'Ambrosio week in, week out, then you can put Darmian at right centre back, and then, Young can play at right wing back as well. So then that gives you the ability to use Perisic and Biragi. I know Perisic is still adapting. So, these things elevate your squad so much. I really wanted Biragi to stay. And, he, on pitch stuff aside, he is a proper Inter fan as well at the end of the day. It's like, I know he had this minor issue in that one game with Lukaku where he wanted to take the free kick. Him and Lukaku argued over a free kick. But then that was just for a game. But, you could see that he cared about the club and he used to get well along with Barella, Brozovic. So it adds to the squad dynamic. So to what you said, Manish, Candreva, I'm fine with him leaving. But Biragi, I really wanted him to stay.
Yeah, also, Manish, if Candreva stayed, you had let's say a moment where Candreva will pass to Gagliardini. I mean, do you want Candreva and Gagliardini on the pitch when it's a do or die situation? Or would you be like, okay, Hakimi to Lukaku? Which would you prefer?
Obviously, Hakimi to Lukaku, yeah. That's a no-brainer, yeah.
Yeah, and also, this is to you itself, Manish. So,
yeah,
you spoke about Handanovic, and now he has kept a clean sheet. And this will obviously boost his confidence. And what did you think of his performance against Sassuolo? Do you think he wasn't tested at all? Because Sassuolo had more possession. But do you think he wasn't tested, or he put in a good shift as well?
No, so if you check the formation that we played, we sat back deep. We didn't give much spaces to Sassuolo. Jeremy Boga was cleverly and well marked by Darmian. And the other side, Berardi pretty much was shut down completely. So all their main attacking threats were neutralized. So Handanovic didn't have to do much saves. But I think one shot, Juricic, Sassuolo's number 10, gave a shot. And again, you could see Handanovic was stunned, pretty much flat-footed. He just looked to the side and hit the post. So Handanovic, if you see his reflexes, his reactions over age has gone down. He's no more the young, agile goalkeepers. Like if you check nowadays, goalkeepers, the height doesn't matter that much. The agility and the response, that's really important. Like now Chelsea got a new keeper. The guy's it's like they call him the Black Spider-Man or something because he's really good. His reflexes, his movements. And because of that, Chelsea's overall, the clean sheets have improved, the results have improved. So saying that, I think time for Handanovic has come. He, like I said, is a captain of the club. We respect that. He's been a good uh, player for the squad. He hasn't thrown much tantrums and stuff. Yes, but saying that, I think over time his reflexes have gone down. He can be a good substitute keeper for next season. Yeah, like pretty much like we did with Toldo, where we had Julio Cesar come in and Toldo was the backup. So I think Handanovic's time is clearly up, Gautam, if you ask me.
Yeah, and okay, this one's for both of you as well. I'll start with Parmeshwar first. Uh, Milan again won over the weekend. Looks like they're on a roll. We thought, okay, without Ibra, they'll drop points, but they didn't. And Kessie had a good performance and they played well. So the league this year is so close, and our performance against Sassuolo was brilliant. Do you think we have it in us to keep it consistent? Because Milan doesn't look like they'll have a dip in form anytime soon. So that means we have to be completely consistent throughout the season. Do you think we have it in us? Parmeshwar, to you first. Like, do you think it's possible, or we have to hope Milan drops points sometime or the other?
Yeah, I mean, Gotham, see, at the end of the day, the table clearly shows that, we are 5 points behind Milan, right? So we have to hope, they at least drop points in at least, let's say 3-4 matches, because you need to consider that, we need to go above them. We need to stay consistent from this point. And also the fact that, there's another Milan derby left, later on. See, this is a long road, there's a long, long way to go. Like, I've not given up on the title race or anything. With your, to answer your question, we are still in it. Everyone is in it. You can't count Juventus out. At the end of the day, they're Juventus. You can't count Napoli out, after Maradona's passing away. I feel they're in general going to be motivated, the stadium being renamed to, and then they're going to build a museum and all outside it and his statue. So in general, they are going to be motivated. Yesterday they completely hammered Roma. Like, you could see that in them, So Napoli is going to be there. Milan, of course. I just read a report a while ago that, they had a day off today in training, but all of them showed up for training. So their spirits are high. They didn't take their day off. So they want to keep that momentum going. With us, we have got an important win against Sassuolo. So it shows. And, I want to point something interesting out about Conte's post-match conference after Sassuolo. He was back to being himself. You could see he was vocal on the sidelines, but he threw another fit in the post-match conference. He said he was pretty vocal about it because after, I think this was mainly because of what our ultras did. They said that if you don't show up, we'll show up with baseball bats and all. So he said at a club like Inter, it's not easy. I've never seen this anywhere else in my job. He was like, at Inter, it's all crazy. The pressure is too much. It's not easy at all. It's nothing like any other club. And he said that he was asked, like, how's it going with the club? And also he said, the thing is, there's a lot of criticism towards Inter, where either it's the coach or the players. What he said is that, I really hope the management is with us on the same boat. We row the same boat in the same manner. I really hope. So he never said, we are, but he's like, I hope. What I feel he's trying to do here is that, instead of taking shots at the management, because, he did mention the past 3 months as well, where he did the same thing. He mentioned it in the same conference. But I think what he's trying to do is that, he's creating an us versus everyone mentality, of sorts. He's trying to bind the team together with that mentality, because what I notice is that, some players in this team need that kick. Yes, you can do it, you can do it in the dressing room. You don't have to be vocal. But I think there are some players in this team that need to see this in the public. They need it out there. Like, they need the coach to show that backing publicly. I feel someone like Gagliardini, it helps these players, no matter how average he is, it helps boost their morale. Like, that's what I feel what he's trying to do. He's trying to create this us versus everyone mentality, in a way, binding everyone together. And I think this is one thing, if he does well, I don't care if he takes shots at the management anymore, because I personally feel this is what he's trying to do. He's not insulting the management, even if it sounds like that. But I think he's just trying to bring everyone together, because we've been through a rough patch right now. And also, another turning point, I don't know if you agree with me or not, is that recently he was awarded something known as the Tapiro Doro, which is like a humiliating award. Basically, it's given for some sort of humiliation you've suffered, or like, it's an insult basically. So you are literally given that award in your hand. Like, I think it's a journalist or someone who comes and literally delivers it to you and he interviews you after that. So that is insulting, right? So I don't think Conte is something you'd want to do that with, because I think things like these fire him up. I don't want to be too reactionary and say, oh yes, we've beaten Sassuolo, now we're winning the league. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I think things like these, and him using this mentality of us versus everyone goes a long way in boosting the team's morale, and I think that's where our season lies on. That's where our season is dependent on. And yeah, I mean, it's not over, Gautami. There is a long way to go. And yes, it looks like Milan won't drop any points. Yesterday also they played a really good game. But yeah, let's see, man. Like, we have done this in the past as well. We have been there until December, and then we have bottled points. We've dropped points. Well, let's see. Let's see. There's a long way to go. I hope we get there. But yeah, I mean, we just have to keep winning everything at this point. There is no other option, because in my mind, as an Inter fan, when I watch Milan, when I watch AC Milan, even when I saw them yesterday, they just don't seem like dropping points anytime soon. At least, they're just too good at the moment. They don't need Ibrahimovic on the pitch. He's a motivator off the pitch. They don't need him on the pitch every time to hold their hand. So yeah, our main duty is to just keep this going, maintain the balance, and make sure everything is right, and yeah, just get the wins.
Yeah, Manish, so to you the same thing, like looks like we have to win all our remaining matches, and as we pointed out earlier, like Milan looks too strong this season. Do you think we have it in us to keep it consistent throughout the season?
So like we discussed over the weeks, it's better to have the hiccups right now. So the speed bumps hit us right now rather than much later on or after the January transfer market. So right now we understand exactly what a weakness is, what we have to do. So I'm actually happy like we had this initial hiccup. So pretty much everyone is aware, what Conte is aware, the clubs are, what can be done and how to best use the January transfer market. That is really important. So Milan, pointing them, they're in best form. I think one of the best form, what I've read, is the best form in Europe. They're unbeaten, along with Juventus and Atletico Madrid. They're unbeaten in the league. Only these three teams in the bigger leagues. So I think we should not get carried away with Milan's results. Milan is a very young team. Yeah. So if a small issue happens, I'm sure everything will crumbling, or it'll go like a snowballing effect for Milan. So right now they're enjoying their period of form. So I think we should not be much bothered about Milan getting the 5-point lead over us. It's a long season. I think just pretty much, I think 1/3 of season is 2/3 is still remaining. So it's a long way. So just like up to 9 matches are up. So yeah, I'm not worried at all about Milan. Milan's a very young squad. They're inexperienced. When time comes to falter, uh, they will fall. So like Param pointed out, we should be more worried about Napoli. Napoli is playing brilliant football. Also, Juventus, we can never rule them out. They are completely, when you least expect them, they will come because they have been there and they've done it. Although the coach is pretty much new, but the squad is very experienced, yeah. And they have a very good mix of young players and old players. They have the defensive old players still with them and young attacking players. So, and with Pirlo, you don't know what to expect. But saying that with Juventus, things never go wrong. So they are obviously in the title race. So right now, I think what Inter must do at this point is just focus on their results. Let's not get too distracted what Napoli is doing or what Milan is doing or what other teams are doing. Inter has to grind out results. So I'm glad Conte realized that the fancy football or the champagne football is no longer required, because last season we were quite boring saying that fact, football style, but we used to get the results. We used to churn out the results when it mattered. All right, so that is something which we haven't done over compared to last season. But this season, I'm happy Conti shifted to 3-5-2, so that more focus is clearly done on the defensive phase of games and hitting teams on the counter and play to Inter's strengths rather than create something which it's not Inter. So Gotham, like I said, not to get worried. Season is still up and running, so there might be again hiccups down the road. But let's see, we are Inter. We never give up till the final day.
Okay, so sticking with you, Manish, for the Champions League now. I mean, this weekend was very calm, but is it the calm before the storm, and storm as in shit storm, wherein like we screw up once again, and now the group is not in our hands. We are dependent on other results, and it looks like we had a good result against Sassuolo, but we shouldn't be overconfident now. how do you think the match against Mönchengladbach will go? Like, do you have any hopes now again? It's the same question last times, but do you have any hopes in the Champions League?
Right, Gautam. So if you noticed my shirt, which I'm wearing, it says Inter and Champions League. So maybe this is the last time I'm wearing this season. So might as well wear it now. But saying that, like I said, Gautam, Champions League has never been a priority. We were not expect to go out there and win it. But saying that Champions League is really important for the club finances. So I also read it in a lot of articles saying that if we go out of the group phase, Zhang has a special gift for Conte. Like he can sign him one player of Conte's wish. Now, I don't know if the rumors or it's just hoax, but yeah. So once you get out of group phase, it helps in the financial fair play. You know, we get a lot of funds coming in. But saying that, Mönchengladbach is really strong in Champions League. They're performing really well. They've knocked, I think, Shakhtar out in both the matches, which I think Real Madrid struggled to beat Shakhtar, and we also struggled to beat Shakhtar. So let's not rule anything out. It's not a walk in the park for us. It's going to be a very challenging game, and we are playing in their stadium. And so I would expect a really tough fight with Mönchengladbach. So I'm thinking about the approach. I would suggest Conte would stick back to the 3-5-2 formation because it is tried and tested. And since that we're playing in their stadium, so Conte again may stick to a defensive formation where he sit back and hit them on the counter. So I think that's the only smart way to beat Mönchengladbach rather than go all attack and leave spaces behind. And we have seen that time and time out where again the smaller teams where we send all our players higher up the pitch and suddenly a long ball comes across the defense and we concede. So I'm sure Conte has learned from his mistakes and pretty much we sit back. But we're going to miss Arturo Vidal in this game because he got foolishly sent off in the previous game. Now, who is the one going to replace him? That's a very good question. So pretty much Barella is going to start. Pretty much Gagliardini is going to start. And who's going to be the third one? My guess or my bet should be on Sensi. And maybe in the second half, Brozovic, half-fit Brozovic to come on maybe last 15 or 20 odd minutes. Because Sensi doesn't have the legs to run the whole 90 minutes. So I'm expecting pretty much a 3-5-2 formation. And Lukaku and Lautaro to start, which I think Darmian may start, and with last 30 minutes or so, Hakimi to come in. So all in all, let's not expect a walk in the park. But saying that it's not, if we don't get a result out of the game, it's not the end of the world. We still have the league or Europa League to look forward. Saying that I'm expecting a very open game and Inter to sit back and absorb the attack. That's my analysis, Gautam, for the next match.
Yeah, Parmeshwar, to you, like we have to go all out. Draw is no good for us. How do you think the approach will be? Like we have to attack from minute one, or we sit back, we soak in the pressure for first 20 minutes, and then go out on the attack?
I pretty much agree with Manish because I've watched Mönchengladbach a lot of times this season, and they are easily one of the best counter-attacking teams in Europe, and I would even go to say in the world. They have a lot of quality, and I don't think there's a point of overloading their boxes because we are very vulnerable on the break. And yes, the thing is we are not good. We won't have Vidal for this match, and he's very good at intercepting those last ditch through balls and everything. So we're not going to have him. And I don't expect someone like Sensi to make those interceptions at the end of the day. So our approach should still be the same as to what we had against Sassuolo. I feel nothing different. Because going on the break we are much better off than playing a high line. And let's see who starts. I pretty much feel it's going to be something like Handanovic. Of course the back three is going to remain the same. Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni. That can't change. With that defense we've actually conceded less, and they've not played enough this season to actually prove that they're very solid, but whenever they do they are. And left wing back, I'd probably go with Perisic. Right wing back, Damian. The question is the midfield since Vidal isn't there. But Conte needs that physical presence. So I'll probably say Sensi, Barella, Gagliardini, and of course Lukaku, Lautaro to, of course, lead the attack. But yeah, I think it should be a 3-5-2 pretty much. Let us soak the pressure because see, Manish, as he said that he personally feels we should focus on the league. So it's not the end of the world if we don't focus on the Champions League. But then he also pointed out that we need the revenue, right? Like in these times especially, Inter's shareholders meeting was held the other day and we've made a loss of 102 million. It's actually not as bad as, it was reported. People said it would be much more, in excess of 150 million and all. It's not that bad. But we still need the revenue at the end of the day, right? That's what we need. And we need to give Conte who he wants. We need the money. So yeah, I mean, I think if we adopt the same approach, we will get a decent amount of chances and we will end up winning this game. I don't know, I sort of liken this match to the one away to Slavia Prague last season, where it was a must win. We had no choice. And Slavia weren't a bad team. They were a good team in that group. They even drew at Camp Nou. So I have a feeling it's going to be something like that we actually end up winning tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, so the time for predictions is here. Manish, with you first. Must-win game for us. What do you think will be the scoreline?
So far, whenever we had this must-win games, we always fucked it up. So, and I like the fact that we jinx matches. The moment we say Inter's going to lose or draw, and Inter actually Conti and Inter surprises us. So I'm going with the same thing, like Inter and Monchengladbach to have a 2-2 draw. So Inter to start slow, they're going to attack first, and then we equalize. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw, and hopefully this time Inter wins. So yeah, like last week, same prediction, 2-2 draw.
Parmeshwar, coming to you, what is your prediction?
So yeah, I mean, as Manish pointed out, whenever we predict, it's usually been the opposite this time. But I am still feeling positive, as I said. So I'll either go for a, let's say, 2-1 win or a 3-2 win, let's say. Maybe something like that. Because I was watching Monchengladbach recently as well, and the same players, Thuram, Plea, and Lazaro. Lazaro is back for them. And he's doing a pretty decent job. He's being used as a winger in midfield. So it's going to be a tricky one, but yeah, let's say 2-1 win or 3-2 win for us.
Yeah, Ian, I'm guessing it's going to be a 3-2 win. It is going to be an open game. And I think it'll be a high-scoring game, 3-2, with us nicking it at the end. Maybe 70th or 75th minute, we'll score the winner. All right, there you have it, folks. That's another episode of Interclub India podcast. So let us know in the comments, what do you think? Is the Sassuolo game a turning point in the season? Will we make it through the group stages in the Champions League? And how is our season going to progress? Do let us know in the comments. Thank you.